Astraltegic.
Hi guys! Welcome to Astraltegic. Today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. To make it more sharp, we will talk about self-hypnotic problems. So technically, without you actually aware, you might actually hypnotize yourself without knowing you do so, without understanding the outcome and the result and the effect that it has on your mind. So on the ancient Bible, the Jewish Bible, they actually say that God forbid to use all sort kind of images and statues. Later on, the Christianity actually continued to adopt art and images, and of course even the statue of Jesus inside the church, which is not completely in line with the Jewish doctrine at the time. So let's try to dive into it and see how that can actually impact. So what I saw is a very, very big brand of drinks in the world, pretty much familiar. They commercialize on the image of a can, iPhone, and also I think some kind of tablet inside. And then inside of those images, those small icons that they print on the can, they also put their own brand, their own bottles, just to try to use your obsession or to use your weakness into those devices, phone and tablets, that we touch those stuff a lot, to try to tie our addiction that also it will carry and include their product within it, which I think is pretty mean, and the brand is already big and already successful, but every greatest is not a small thing, and sometimes you can achieve with some dirty tricks more outcome, and sometimes those dirty tricks, it's something that people get paid for so they can have a job at the advertising company. I think it's fine, but the question is, where is the morality stand when you're using this dirty trick on people's minds, which they can't actually understand, like what's going on. Like when you see advertisement, many times you see advertisement and you can analytically understand it, and sometimes they can find a gap around your regular consciousness and affect you. Now you might actually also magnetize based on some other images, and that's very associative complexity thing to explain. So think about it this way: you go in the street and you see yellow, and then you're thinking about a yellow submarine, okay? And then when you think about the yellow submarine, you remember that album you used to listen with your ex-girlfriend, and then suddenly you said, that terminology of the mind is happening like all the time. You can have the opposite. You can have let's say that you can see an image of a fish, and you're thinking about that you actually eat fish 2 days ago, and during the date with a beautiful girl, and then you suddenly say, oh shit, I gotta call this girl. So it might invoke a memory in you, and you can act by this. So the idea is that there is so much power and things that actually can navigate, a small fraction, they say that a small butterfly wings can change something in the world. Technically, I believe, I don't know if it's the exact effect, but those kind of things can actually happen. So in many ways, I think what we need to be careful is, first of all, try to look a little bit better into details with our space, to see if those kind of power can sometimes invoke powers that are unwanted in our life. It could be like a negative energy. So if you have all these sort kind of counter religious things, like I have a religious thing in my background, and hopefully God bless, I will have the benefits from it. But some people can find, for example, other element that they can actually invoke bad luck into your life and cause some chaos into your life, and those kind of symbols and things that we want to avoid. So you should be very careful in what you're bringing into your life and what you're bringing into your room. Now arguably you can say that there is other element with statues that it's working almost the same like with picture, because both are visual and we reacting to that even if we are not extremely aware that we reacting for that. And I'm not talking about just the energy, and might be some correlation between the energy and the visual aspect of it. So a good example to demonstrate what I'm saying is that imagine that you have, for example, a gun in your room, okay, and you start to think, how did I end up having a gun? And you can try and think about the terminology that this gun, like how many things happen before you decided that this gun will be in your room. Now it just for the example, because I go with something that is a little bit more extreme, but we can look at those kind of stuff and understand that those kind of we can do self-hypnotic to ourselves, or even build like a hypnotic circle with some ideas, long as we have some images that keep flickering in our mind when you open our eyes. I used to have on the back of this wall, I used to have like clouds. I paint them by themselves, and they were gorgeous and beautiful, and I used to think that it would make me more relaxed or so. And then one day I just find out that maybe that kind of clouds is actually blurring my consciousness without knowing, right? So I was doing something negative to myself. At the end of the day, I end up, it took me like 3 days with several hands to paint it back to white. So I'm trying to keep things back to simple, and less and less and less. In the future, I think I will do much better, because I need to build some closet here in the room, but I can to increase the simplicity in order to have a clarity. So organizing the room, it's of course also a part of the visual that we're talking about, even though it's not so specific like we're talking about hypnotics. And some power can actually motivate us. So let's say that you gain some weight and you want to go back to your best physique. If you put the image in your room or in a modest place, you can use it to gain benefits. So you can use like your idol or something is to remind you, you need to train and you want to look like that guy, so you need to keep the dream going. So trying to remind yourself that you have this dream, extremely important. I will just go quickly to see if there is something that I forget, which I doubt I did. Yeah, so I will say just the last thing about trying to explain how it's actually working. We did use the submarine and so on, but another element of the self-hypnotic could be that we might find ourselves, so for a good example is when a mental is talking to you and doing this, is kind of projecting you the number 4 in your subconscious mind. So we talk about associative thoughts and how they can go wrong, and that's a very good example for the self-hypnotic at that example. And a mentalist is another way to explain to you. A mentalist can use this term of 4 and put it in your head. Another way that you can see, it's not exactly self-hypnotic, but you can also do it by a different level of thought, that maybe it's a vocal thought, and you say to yourself, oh, I should never let them do this, or maybe something like, oh, I should never steal, something like that. Now when you creation, I just talk about it, that it's a very complex thing, that some people say you should not look at women, and then when they say it, you might not even want to look at women, but then when they say it, they create the problem in your subconscious mind without even knowing that. So we need to be careful with the mechanism. So for example, if I'm telling you don't think about monkey, and you are thinking now about monkey, I create the conflict in your mind in the moment that the monkey image streaming on the screen of your mind. You understand what I'm saying? You feel me? Good. It's great that you feel me. So that's just to prove to you that it's working, and it's no matter how intelligent you think you are and how under control you think you are. I just prove it to you. Don't think about monkey, you think about monkey. Why you think about monkey? It's because it's a technique that designed to create this conflict in your mind. So we need to be careful from the mechanism of those stuff, okay? And we also should, as advised, as I said before, try to keep things simple and clean lines and less element that can distract us from our goals. For me, and I can't show it to you now because I'm just packing because I'm flying somewhere, I also like to organize my clothes by color. You know, I like to black and then blue and then maybe light green, pistachio sort kind of, and white. Sorry. So I like to organize my clothes by colors, and everything is more, at least for my feeling, is more organized. So I hope you took something from it. This video was pretty much short, only 9 minutes, and it's went pretty much smooth. So I love you guys, I really do. Please thumbs up. You know, it's a new channel. Help me to help me to help me to help me to help you at the end. See, so I was starting to be funny. So I hope that you can find this information to be useful for you, and see you in the next time.